Listen to me. You are not their rescue mission. You are not a rehabilitation center for people who don't know how to love you. You're not an emotional playground. You were not born to beg for love, attention, or validation. You were born to rise. So stop chasing people who don't even know how to hold someone like you. Let them go and start focusing on the one person who truly matters. You. Ladies and gentlemen, queens and warriors, let me tell you something that will shake you out of your denial. The people you're fighting so hard to keep, they were never meant to stay. Letting go isn't weakness. Letting go is power. Because when you finally stop watering dead plants, you realize you were the garden all along. You were the prize. You were the storm. You were the peace. So why are you settling for less than what you deserve? You're scrolling through old messages, replaying memories, decoding mixed signals like it's your full-time job. Stop it. Just stop. Do you know what happens when you focus on yourself? You become magnetic. You glow. You attract. You don't chase. Your energy shifts. Your standards rise. And suddenly, the same people who didn't see your worth, they'll wish they had. But by then, guess what? You'll be gone and they'll be irrelevant. Letting go is not losing, it's leveling up. And if no one told you that before, let me be the first to say it loud enough for your doubts to hear it too. You are not a failure because you walked away. You are not weak because you chose peace over chaos. You didn't lose anything. You freed yourself. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is to walk away from what's breaking you, even if your heart is still attached. That is not defeat. That is strength disguised as surrender. Because choosing yourself, especially when it hurts, is the real glow up. Think about it. Every time you stayed in a place that drained you, a little part of your fire dimmed. Every time you held on to someone who wasn't holding you back, your soul whispered, "This is not where we belong." But you stayed. You hoped. You tolerated. You sacrificed your peace for potential. That's what we're taught, right? Hold on, be the bigger person, fight for them, be patient. But what about fighting for yourself? Do you know how many women out there are crying themselves to sleep every night over someone who hasn't changed in years? Who promises but never proves? Who says, "I love you," but shows no respect? Let me ask you something personal. When was the last time you felt proud of how much you gave to someone who gave you half? When was the last time you woke up and said, "This situation makes me better"? Or are you just surviving in it, breathing but not living? Letting go doesn't mean you didn't care. It means you finally cared about you. Enough to stop breaking yourself for someone who doesn't even notice the cracks. Enough to stop giving your best to people who would leave you hanging if you ever needed them. That's not loss. That's awakening. You think you're losing love when you let go, but maybe you're just losing illusion. Maybe what you called love was just a lesson with lipstick on. Maybe what you thought was your forever was just a stepping stone. You think you're losing history, but girl, don't confuse duration with destiny. Just because they've been there for years doesn't mean they were ever meant to stay. Do you remember that plant you kept watering even when it was dead? You kept hoping. You gave it more sun, more water, more attention, but nothing worked. It was gone. And the more energy you gave it, the more you drained yourself. That's what you're doing with people sometimes, watering dead things. Hoping that this time it'll come back to life. But it won't, because it was never your job to fix what someone else destroyed. Letting go is what allows your hands to be free for better things. New things, healthy things, opportunities. People who see you without needing to be reminded of your worth. Spaces where your energy is honored, not used. Think about your phone. When it gets overloaded with junk files, it slows down, right? You can't open new apps, things crash, battery dies fast. But the moment you start deleting what no longer serves you, bam, speed, space, energy. Life's the same. When you keep holding on to what no longer fits, you're slowing your soul down, your mind, your glow. But the moment you release it, even if your heart shakes, a new chapter begins. And the truth is, the next level of your life requires a version of you who doesn't cling out of fear. It requires a version of you who trusts her own magic, who doesn't cry over closed doors, she builds new ones, who doesn't run after people, she runs after purpose. You are not losing love, you are finding freedom. You are not losing a partner, you are gaining peace. You are not behind, you are exactly where your healing begins. Every queen has a moment where she stops chasing and starts choosing. And that moment is her becoming. You might cry when you let go. That's okay. Cry, breathe, breathe. But don't go back. You already know what's there. You already know how much it costs. And your peace is too expensive to be sold for one more apology or I'll change. You're not meant to shrink just to fit inside someone else's comfort zone. You're meant to rise, to evolve, to become a woman who no longer waits for validation but walks like she knows she's the table, the meal, and the whole damn room. This is your power. This is your rebirth. And no, it's not a loss. It's a level up. Your energy is your currency. Stop wasting it. People talk about time being precious, but let me tell you something more real. Your energy is even more valuable than your time, because you can spend time with someone and still walk away fine. But if they drain your energy, that exhaustion stays with you for days, sometimes weeks. Some people are not robbing your hours, they're robbing your soul. Slowly, quietly, constantly. Imagine waking up in the morning with your emotional bank account full. You've got 100% battery. And then, without even noticing, you start giving it away. A good morning text to someone who never replies with the same energy. A phone call to a friend who only ever talks about themselves. A meeting with coworkers who never value your input. Scrolling for hours, comparing yourself to people who are just posting filters and highlight reels. By noon, you're running on 40%, not because you did too much, but because you gave too much to people and things that never give back. You feel tired, irritable, unmotivated, and you start questioning your worth. You think, maybe I'm just lazy. Maybe I'm just not good enough, but it's not you. It's the way you've been spending your energy like it's limitless when it's not. Let me ask you something real. Would you give your credit card to a stranger and say, hey, just buy whatever you want, I'll pay for it? Of course not. But you give away your emotional energy like it's nothing. You let people dump their negativity on you. You let them call you only when they're bored, text you only when they're lonely, lean on you only when it's convenient. And you keep showing up, you keep giving, you keep replying, and slowly your spark fades, your dreams start to collect dust. Your peace turns into noise. You lose sight of what matters. You. There's a reason successful, happy people are picky with their circle. There's a reason they say no more than they say yes. Because they've learned the truth. Energy is power. And where your energy goes, your life flows. Think of it like this. Your energy is your light. Now what happens when you keep placing your light in rooms full of darkness? You don't brighten them. They dim you. Not because you're not powerful, but because the room doesn't want light. Some people don't want your joy, they want your attention. Some don't want to grow, they want to use you as a cushion while they stay stuck. And here's the hardest pill to swallow. Not everyone deserves access to you. Not everyone should have the privilege of your mind, your heart, your vibe. If you're constantly giving your energy to people who don't water you back, you're not being generous. You're being drained. There's a girl out there who's exhausted not because she's doing too much, but because she's constantly fixing everyone else. She's the one everyone calls, the one everyone leans on, the one who holds everything together. But no one checks on her. No one pours back into her. And she thinks it's her job to carry it all. That's not strength. That's self-neglect. You need to ask yourself, what are you investing your energy in? Gossip? Jealousy? Overthinking? Trying to be enough for people who don't even know what enough looks like? Or are you investing it in your healing, your passion, your peace, your purpose? You've got to protect your vibe like it's gold, because it is. Your energy attracts your reality. That's not spiritual fluff. That's real life. When you're vibrating high, when your energy is calm and focused, you draw in better people, better opportunities, better results. But when you're constantly drained, scattered, burnt out, you become a magnet for chaos, confusion, conflict. Look at your week. How many hours did you spend people-pleasing, apologizing for who you are, entertaining low-value conversations that made you feel small? How many times did you let someone disrespect you because you didn't want to seem too much? Your energy is not just about physical stamina, it's emotional, mental, spiritual. And every choice you make is either filling your tank or draining it dry. Start becoming aware of your energy leaks. That person who always calls you with drama, that job that makes you feel invisible, that habit of scrolling through social media first thing in the morning. These are leaks. And if you don't patch them, they will keep you stuck in a cycle of tired, uninspired living. You are not a battery for broken people to recharge on. You are not a trash bin for other people's emotional garbage. You are not a doormat for indecisive lovers who only love you when it's convenient. You are energy. You are force. You are fire. So spend yourself wisely. Spend it on dreams that scare you, on books that feed you, on workouts that strengthen you, on silence that heals you, on people who see you and say, I'm better when you're around. Because those people, they don't drain you, they fuel you. And in their presence, you don't just exist, you expand. Silence is the best clapback. And I know that might sound too simple, especially when the world expects you to always respond, defend, explain, prove your worth. But here's the real truth. When you choose silence over drama, you're not backing down, you're rising above. You're not weak, you're wise. Because sometimes the loudest thing you can say is nothing at all. You don't have to respond to every insult. You don't have to fight every battle. You don't have to match their energy. You're not built for that kind of chaos. You're not made to drown in noise. You're made to reign in peace. There's something powerful about a woman who doesn't flinch when someone tries to shake her. A woman who hears the rumor, sees the shade, feels the betrayal, and still chooses not to engage. She doesn't scream. She doesn't post passive-aggressive quotes. She doesn't beg for understanding. She just glows. She just grows. You know why? Because real queens don't entertain court jesters. Real women don't explain to people who are committed to misunderstanding them. They let their silence echo louder than any comeback. We live in a time where everyone wants the last word. Everyone wants to go viral for their savage response. But let me tell you something. Savage isn't always smart. Loud isn't always powerful. Sometimes the most intimidating thing you can do is walk away without saying a word, to leave them talking to the wind while you elevate. Let them talk, let them lie. Let them twist your name into something it never was. Let them create their own version of the story. Because your silence will always expose their insecurity louder than any reply ever could. Do you remember those moments when you wasted energy arguing with someone who already made up their mind about you? You broke yourself trying to be understood. You sent long texts, voice notes, paragraphs that started with, I just want you to know. And what did you get in return? More confusion, more disrespect, more pain. Because some people aren't looking for your truth, they're looking for control. And the moment you stop giving them that, the moment you stop feeding their need for drama and attention, that's when you win. That's when your silence becomes your sword. Sharp, swift, unbothered. Silence doesn't mean you're okay with how they treated you. It means you're too expensive to argue. It means you've realized that your peace is not up for debate. It means you're not going to drain your energy trying to be understood by people who are committed to being blind. Think about this. Have you ever seen a lion turn around just because a few dogs barked? No. A lion keeps walking, head high, power intact. That's how you need to be. When they try to pull you into their chaos, stay calm. When they try to provoke you, stay poised. When they expect you to explode, stay elegant. Because silence in the face of noise, that's power, that's class, that's danger. They want you to break. They want you to lash out. They want you to spiral. Why? Because your reaction feeds their ego. But your silence, that starves it. It's easy to react. It's easy to snap. But it takes serious self-control to be silent when your ego is screaming. That's not just maturity, that's mastery. And once you master that, you start walking different, talking different. You don't even hear the gossip anymore. You don't even care who said what. You're too busy building, growing, healing, winning. You want to know what really shakes people? Not a clapback, not a dramatic speech, but your ability to rise without needing revenge. Your ability to succeed while they stay stuck in the same circle of bitterness. Your ability to smile when they expected you to sink. Look around. The world's loud. Everyone's yelling for attention. But when you enter a room and you don't need to prove anything, that's rare. That's magnetic. That's what makes people turn their heads and ask, who is she? You don't need to prove them wrong with your words. Prove them wrong with your glow. Prove them wrong with your level up. Prove them wrong with your happiness. Because silence is not weakness, it's self-respect. It's the refusal to let someone else's chaos hijack your peace. Let them underestimate you. Let them gossip. Let them assume. You don't owe them your truth. You don't owe them your voice. You don't owe them your explanation. You owe yourself peace, clarity, and forward motion. Silence says, I'm not engaging because my growth is too loud. Silence says, you don't have access to my energy anymore. Silence says, I've learned to value my response so much that not everyone gets one. And that is power. That is healing. That is evolution. Rejection is redirection. And until you truly believe that, you'll keep seeing closed doors as failures instead of divine reroutes. You'll keep crying over what didn't happen instead of celebrating what you were saved from. But let's get one thing straight. Rejection is not the end. It's the beginning of a better alignment, a higher calling, a more powerful version of you that needed to be unlocked through pain. You didn't get that job? Good. Because maybe it was a cage wrapped in a paycheck. Maybe that boss would have drained your light. Maybe that company would have made you forget your worth. Maybe you were never meant to be someone's employee. Maybe you were meant to build your own table. That person left you? Good. Because maybe you were shrinking to fit into their world. Maybe you were pouring yourself into a cup that had holes in it. Maybe God removed them because they were blocking the blessing coming your way. Because sometimes love isn't about holding on. It's about letting go so you can rise. You see, rejection isn't personal. It's spiritual. It's not the universe being cruel. It's the universe clearing the path. That door slammed in your face, that was protection. That no was a whisper from destiny saying, not here, not now, not for you. Keep moving. But we don't always see it that way, right? We beg, we plead, we try to force it. We think, if I can just prove myself, maybe they'll want me, maybe they'll see me. And in that moment, we forget who we are. We forget that our worth isn't tied to someone else's validation. It's not tied to a relationship status. It's not tied to a job title. It's tied to how you rise after you fall. Think about the most powerful people you admire. Artists, entrepreneurs, leaders, creators. Every single one of them has a story where they were told no. Where they were rejected, doubted, mocked. And yet they used that no as fuel. They didn't shrink. They didn't beg. They evolved. And that evolution was born in the fire of rejection. Rejection teaches you more than comfort ever could. It teaches you to get back up, to pivot, to dig deeper, to trust yourself even when the world says you're not enough. It wakes up your resilience. It cracks open your creativity. It reminds you that your journey is bigger than one closed door. And here's the thing, rejection also reveals. It reveals who was real, who clapped for you only when you were winning, who loved you only when you were convenient. It reveals the cracks in your foundation so you can rebuild stronger. It shows you what you actually value, what you're willing to fight for, and what you're finally ready to walk away from. You don't get to your purpose without a few heartbreaks. You don't become strong by staying comfortable. You become strong by getting knocked down and deciding, this will not break me. This will build me. There's a woman out there who didn't get the proposal she was dreaming of. He walked away without warning. She cried, she begged, she asked herself what she did wrong. But months later, she found herself again. She started a business. She learned to be alone and still be whole. She glowed differently because she realized that rejection wasn't punishment. It was preparation. There's a man who was rejected from every job he applied for. Interview after interview, we'll get back to you. Turned into silence. And one day in frustration, he picked up a camera, started creating content. That content went viral. Today he runs his own media company. Because that rejection forced him to discover a talent he never knew he had. You see, the no that broke you may become the yes that builds you. But you've got to shift your mindset. You've got to stop seeing rejection as a reflection of your inadequacy. It's not about you not being enough. It's about the space not being ready, or the people not being aligned, or the timing not being divine. You weren't rejected, you were redirected. And redirection is an invitation to something greater, something higher, something more. You didn't lose, you leveled up. So the next time they walk away, let them. The next time they say no, smile. The next time life shuts a door, whisper to yourself, thank you for the redirection. Because rejection is just the universe saying, this way, queen, your real path is over here. And you were never meant to beg for doors. You were meant to build palaces. Heal in private, glow in public. That's not just a mantra, it's a whole movement. A silent revolution of self-worth, of inner power, of learning how to rebuild without putting your scars on display. Because the world doesn't need to see your wounds bleeding just to believe you've been through something. It doesn't need a live broadcast of your breakdown. It needs your bounce back, your strength, your transformation, not your tears, but your triumph. Let's be honest, we live in a time where oversharing is glorified. Everyone wants to post their pain, live stream their heartbreak, upload their crying selfies with captions like healing era. And look, that might help some, but if you're constantly looking for applause while you're still bleeding, you're giving your pain too much power. Healing is sacred. It's messy, it's lonely, and it's not for likes. It's for life. There is something unshakably powerful about a woman who goes silent when life breaks her. She doesn't post cryptic stories. She doesn't call everyone to vent. She doesn't seek sympathy. She disappears, not to hide, but to repair. She goes within. She faces her demons. She cries into her pillow at 3 a.m., not for attention, but because it's human. She deletes the number, blocks the access, cleans the room, lights the candle, says the prayer, and then slowly, silently, she rises. When you heal in private, you take the power back. You stop waiting for someone to validate your pain. You stop explaining your scars to people who wouldn't understand anyway. You stop giving front row seats to those who only come to watch you fall. Because not everyone who listens cares. Not everyone who comforts is genuine. And not everyone deserves access to your healing space. You ever notice how trees don't make noise when they grow, but when they fall? Ooh, you hear that crash. That's how life is. People notice the collapse, but the healing, the rise, the strength, the transformation, that happens quietly, out of sight, underground. And that's exactly how you should move. There's a girl out there who got cheated on, betrayed, lied to. Her heart was shattered. She could have exposed him. She could have gone online, told the world what he did, but instead, she stayed quiet. She cried in silence. She hit the gym. She worked on herself. She focused on her career. 6 months later, she's glowing. New job, new energy, new peace. And when he sees her, he feels it. Not because she said anything, but because her glow speaks louder than words ever could. Or take that guy who lost everything. Job, money, love. It would have been easy to play the victim, to drown in pity, but instead, he disappeared. Took some time off, learned a new skill, hustled, rebuilt. Now, he walks into rooms people thought he'd never enter. He didn't argue with his past. He upgraded silently and let his future do the talking. Healing in private doesn't mean you're hiding. It means you're honoring your process. It means you're not rushing to prove you're okay just to make others comfortable. It means you're allowing yourself to break without performance, without pressure. So when you finally return, you're not just patched up. You're transformed. When you glow in public after healing in private, people will stare, they'll whisper, they'll wonder, how did she do that? And the truth is, They'll never know. Because they weren't there when you were screaming into your pillow. They weren't there when you wanted to give up. They weren't there when you were praying for strength, for clarity, for peace. They weren't there for the tears, the therapy, the journals, the sleepless nights. And they don't need to be. Let your glow raise questions. Let your peace confuse the ones who thought you'd never recover. Let your success be the silent proof of your survival. People don't need to know everything. They don't need to see every step. They just need to witness your comeback. Because that's how you inspire. Not by showing the world your wound while it's still open, but by showing them your strength when it's healed. There is power in privacy. There is magic in mystery. There is healing in silence. You don't need to announce your every move. You don't need to explain your every decision. You don't owe anyone your process. You owe yourself peace. So go quiet, go deep, do the shadow work, face the mirror, cry, scream, write, meditate, pray, but do it for you. And when you're ready, when your energy is pure and your heart is whole, step out. Not for validation, but because you're done hiding your light. And when they see you again, don't explain the pain. Just let the glow speak. Let your peace scream louder than your past. Let your energy make statements without words. Because nothing shakes the world more than a person who healed in silence and came back unstoppable. Confidence is the real revenge. Not anger, not bitterness, not proving your point in loud arguments or revenge plots. Real power is walking into the same room they left you in, head high, shoulders back, and absolutely unbothered. It's showing up not to fight back, but to shine so bright they can't ignore you. Because confidence doesn't just change how others see you, it transforms how you see yourself. And when you start believing in your own light, nobody can dim it. Let's get something straight. Confidence isn't about being loud. It's about being grounded. It's not arrogance, it's self-respect. It's not walking around saying, I'm better than you. It's knowing, I don't need to compare myself to you. And sometimes the best clapback isn't words, it's elevation. It's silence paired with success. It's grace in the face of gossip. It's that subtle smile when they expect you to break and you glow instead. You were underestimated. You were doubted. Maybe they walked away from you thinking you wouldn't rise again. Maybe they ghosted you, replaced you, cheated, betrayed, or talked behind your back. Let them write your eulogy. Let them say she's done. Because what they don't know is you're the kind of woman who turns pain into power. You don't just bounce back, you evolve. There's a girl out there who was told she wasn't pretty enough, not smart enough, not good enough. She cried, yes. She questioned her worth, yes. But one day she looked in the mirror and said, I am done living small. She cut off the dead weight. She started reading, working out, focusing on her goals. Fast forward, she walks into a room and turns heads. Not because of her looks, but because of her aura. That quiet confidence, that's the revenge. There's a guy who got dumped. She told him he wasn't ambitious enough. It broke him. But instead of spiraling, he hit the gym. He started building his own business. He disappeared from drama and reappeared on magazine covers. Now she watches him from afar, wondering how he became that man. That's what confidence does. It doesn't scream, it becomes. You see, confidence doesn't beg. It doesn't chase. It doesn't explain. It simply is. And when you walk in it, people feel it. Not because you say a word, but because your energy speaks volumes. Because your glow is undeniable. Because your peace is too loud to ignore. And the best part, confidence is built, not born. You don't wake up one day and just have it. You earn it in those moments when you show up for yourself, when you keep a promise to yourself, when you hit the gym even when you're tired, when you speak your truth even when your voice shakes, when you leave the table where love is no longer being served. Confidence is the reward for choosing you every single time. You want to get back at the people who hurt you? Don't talk about them. Don't obsess. Don't compete. Just glow, build, evolve. Let them watch you become everything they said you couldn't be and more. Let them sit with the silence of your absence while you shine somewhere they no longer have access to. That's the kind of revenge that echoes. Think about it. When someone breaks you, what they secretly want is to watch you fall. They want proof that you needed them. But when you heal, when you thrive, when you walk into a room like your heart was never broken, oh, that hurts in a way words never could. Confidence changes your posture, your choices, your standards. You stop begging for love and start being love. You stop chasing validation and start radiating worth. You no longer try to prove anything because the results speak for you. And when they come back, because they always do, you won't need to block them, expose them, or argue. Your glow will do the talking. Your peace will say what your pride never could. I outgrew the version of me who tolerated you. You don't have to win arguments anymore. You win in silence. You win in the gym. You win in the boardroom. You win in how you treat yourself. That's what confidence does. It gives you freedom. Freedom from the need to be understood. Freedom from the need to be chosen. Freedom from the fear of being alone. Let them gossip. Let them assume. Let them say you've changed. Because you have. You're not bitter. You're better. And no, you don't need revenge. Because your confidence already is. That's the twist nobody saw coming. You didn't get even, you got greater. Become so focused on you, they become a blur. That's not just a catchy line. That's the mindset shift that changes everything. You don't owe anyone a front row seat to your life if they only came to spectate your failure. You don't owe closure, updates, or explanations.